Hey guys, Levi here coming at you with another video. Today it's just going to be a little disassemble video. It's going to be on that OTF that has a Benchmade name on the blade, but it's clearly not a Benchmade. You can actually get this knife all over the market for fairly cheap. I think it's 440C stainless steel. If it didn't have the name on it, which most of them in the market really don't have the Benchmade name on it, they're actually pretty decent, and the haters can't hate on you for it. They'll be, oh, that's a cool knife, but if it says Benchmade on it, they're going to freak out, which I understand why. But that's a whole nother story, a whole nother video, and a whole nother whatever. But today we're going to take this apart. We're doing this for Curtis Smith 2 and Juju Gamer 19. They mentioned in the comments on that video, so they took it apart. Well, Curtis took his apart and couldn't figure out how to get it back together. So we're going to try and help those guys out. Hope the video's not too late, but stick around. We're going to get this thing torn apart. Let's see if we can't figure it out. Okay, here we are. This has a bit of a rubbery, thin layer to it. It's a nice handle. It feels pretty good. It's just really a beater, but I mean, it's going to get jumbled in with the jamboree we're going to do coming up soon, I hope. Let's try out a Phillips #1. Let's see where that gets us here. I'm going to remove these guys and put them on the grid on my placemat here, roughly where they went on the knife. So we're going to try and correlate them to the area. Because sometimes some of these knives, screw is a different size in some areas, like just like on cars or anything else in life that has been assembled and fastened together with machine screws, nuts and bolts, things like that. You know, each one has its place and each place has its screw. So sometimes they may differ in length, and if you put it in the wrong place, mechanical moving parts may not work after that. Okay, we got each of those 6 screws out. These guys are small, so be very careful. They'll take off and you'll never find them. Or you will, but it'll be after you get your knife back together and it doesn't work right, and then that one day you clean your space, you'll find it next to that dead bug under your workbench. All right, so as we can see here, I have the trigger mechanism removed. I'm going to put it here. This is what you'll find on a lot of these OTFs. Now it already feels loose, so I'm going to put it down gently here. I'm going to take the skull crusher loose. You just want to rotate it out like so. Once it feels loose enough, you can remove the tool. Also, now I'm holding on the back side of this, as I took the skull crusher out, on the back side I'm holding that clip in place. So put that to the side. Now set it down and just see carefully, because sometimes your springs might be positioned in place by half this thing holding it down. So we're going to be real careful and take this thing apart. All right, sounds like something's holding together in there. All right, layer 1 off and out of the way. I'm going to set it over here. Now the one thing I just screwed up on, I want you guys to notice, is what didn't I do first? I did not disengage the blade before I took it out. Okay? Now something bad could have happened, and I could have been severely injured. So I got it kind of back together. I'm going to move this blade up. All right, so now it's disengaged. And safely remove that out of the way. Safely remove the spring actuator. I want you guys to see how it's held together. There's a little torque screw right there. Holds that thing in place. That the trigger actuator bolts to it and holds it down. Okay. Hold on, let's do it layer by layer, sorry. Okay, I'm going to take that out. Remember where that spring went. I also encourage you guys, if you're going to take these knives apart in the future, do it with a camera on so you know where everything goes. All right, that helps hold and lock it in place. Got a little spring here. Got our other little other little locking mechanism right here. He's on a spring too. I'm gonna hold him in place. We're gonna pop that blade out. Pretty heavy blade. Okay, there's our other little setup. Now you can see how it goes in there and how, you know. Cool thing about this video is you can rewind it and pause it and freeze frame it to where you think it should be. All right, there she is, all hollowed out. Before we go any further, I do want to show how this guy comes apart too. Hold it like you're holding it, the knife, you know, and push up on that spring and hold it with your finger, and it'll just kind of come apart. That spring holds it together. Okay. Now let's see if we can get these little springs and these little plates in place. Now putting these springs back in place with this plate, it's going to be interesting. Okay. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hold that plate together with that spring and then push it down in that little cavity. I'm holding it down so you get an idea. See how that kind of moves and that blade hits that plate? Okay. See that? That's what it's supposed to do. And it does a much better job when everything's put together, but we're gonna put that back down in here. Now the other one is gonna go in just like that. This is also going to, that'll hold it together for you while you wanna put it in. If you have small tweezers and you don't trust your fingers, it's probably a good way to put it in. But I don't trust tweezers. But I'm compressing that spring. And get my little tool here, just like with the first one. And this is what sucks right here. I'll try and sneak that guy up there before the spring lets loose and flies out of my finger. Just like so. Now that can be a little intimidating because I know you guys are like, man, if I lose that spring, you know, it's gonna suck. But I just kind of held it there. I let the spring stay unloaded until I got it up to the lip. Use my tool to just kind of coax it in there a little bit, and then it'll just drop down into the cavity. But you'll know if you did it right, because when you put it back together and it works, then you know you did it. I thought it'd be kind of cool to show you guys how this knife works, if we can get it to do it without the cover on it. That'd be kind of cool. All right, now you see the purpose of these plates. With everything held down, that little plate, he's moved out of the way by hand. Now see how it just fell in place because I moved it a little bit. All right. Now the reason why I won't go back in, just so you know, is because that tab right there, Now we can get to slide back in. All right, now watch this tab when I pull that blade out. That means that spring is working that we just put in, right? Now, let's see if it'll go back in. Now I'm pushing down on the tip of the blade. So if you try this, be careful, you get hurt. Now I'm going to move that out of the way and push down on the tip. And that little guy in there, the very edge of that blade, is now holding that guy down. And there you go. Now, if this thing was being held together, this would be held down. And it's locked in place. Okay. Then you would push back on the actuator. Okay, now my finger was in the way, but it did pull it back and reset it. Let's see if we can try it one more time. I'd like for you guys to see how it works. See if I can do this without killing myself here. We also don't want to lose any of the bits. Okay, but what's going to happen is this guy's going to come down and it's going to put tension on that screw I showed you. Now see that? Now you can't tell. That's a lot of tension. That screw in there is doing its job of holding that hook. And then when I get it just right, and I move that out of the way, that sucker's going to shoot down the blade. We did it. All right. Now it's loaded and ready to fire out of there. So I'm just going to gently put her down. Okay, so now for this to be a successful put back together, the blade's got to be neutral. All right, let's finish putting it back together and make sure she still works. No weird gaps. Everything seems to be back in its place, fit and finish wise. Let's put this trigger on. And I didn't do it in this video because it takes too long. But I recommend if you're taking this apart, blue, Loctite, or Permatex or something like that. And there you have it, all that together. Now, while you're tightening it, I meant to say something while I was doing it. As you're tightening it, and it gets snug, when it's snug, test to make sure it fires. Okay? And then just a little bit at a time accordingly in a star-shaped pattern. Okay, top, bottom, far left or far right, and then vice versa. And keep going until it feels real snug, and then the knife is now still firing. If you tighten it too much on one side, not enough on the other, it won't fire because it has to be plumb, it has to be square, okay? All right, guys, there we go. That should do it. Okay, Curtis Smith II and Juju Gamer 19. I hope this was somewhat helpful for you. I hope that you guys got it back together. Like I said, this one for the price, it was like, I think it came out to, I mean the video was like it was a few bucks, but I think you can get these now for like as low as $9 on Wish and with shipping. And I think DHgate, you can get them for $9 with shipping. So if this, you know, just try to get the ones that doesn't say Benchmade on it, so you're not buying a clone and, you know, people are not going to hate on you. I mean, really, you're not buying it for the name, you're buying it because clearly it's not a Benchmade. You guys know that. Hope this was very helpful. I hope you guys get your knives back together, and let me know if you do. And even if I'm like way late on the video and you got your knives back together beforehand, just let me know. I did it for you guys. You know, sorry I'm a little late, but we got it back together. We saw how it works. That's generally how most of the OTFs that I've taken apart work. They're all kind of the same design. Most of the clones are definitely like that for sure. Just other ones seem to have better looking guts. So don't forget about the giveaway. I need 500 subscribers so we can do a knife giveaway. I'm not giving away that knife. I'm going to give away something nicer and then something I made that I should have done by then. So hit like, subscribe, share, comment, talk to me in the comment section. I love talking to all you guys. You know who you are. We'll talk to you later.